my goodness. I like that energy. Yeah. So we are going to get started in just a minute. So folks are still getting their copies and coming in. But thank you for this lovely music. We're going to get started in just 1 minute. So we'll see you in a few. Oh, yeah, I love that. Thank you. Hey, I'm back. Ah, hello, welcome. Gosh, it is so good to see you all. Thank you so much for coming tonight. My name is Mariah Young, and I am the faculty advisor for SandScript, and I am so delighted to see all of you here to celebrate Pima's very own arts and literary magazine. SandScript has been in existence for over 30 years, and we are so honored to be part of this powerful Pima lineage of artistry and craftsmanship. So tonight, we are unveiling the print edition of SandScript 2023, as well as our digital exclusive edition. And you'll see on your programs that there is a smart little QR code. It works for our 2023 issue tomorrow. But you can see all of our previous digital editions and get a sense of just what an amazing project this has been for the last few years. And I'm so excited for you all to see our print edition, which is just so beautiful. So tonight, we are going to hear from several of our contributors as they share their writing and their reflections on their creative processes, and really what it means to be part of this legacy, because it's a big deal. You will also see selections from our print and digital editions overhead and throughout tonight's program. And you're going to get a chance to meet the hardworking and passionate staff of SandScript, who have poured so much time and effort and dedication into making SandScript what it is today. Yes, we can cheer. So, as you may know, SandScript is staffed entirely by students, and they're from a variety of different academic disciplines, and they have curated and designed this year's issue from start to finish. So I have a bad joke about how I just stand back and I open doors for them as they create this magazine, but it really is true. Everything about this year's magazine, from the works that were selected to the design and the layout and all the efforts to promote it, they're the fruit of their labor and their passion. The students cram a year's worth of work into 14 weeks. They define the criteria and the standard for how they read and judge all of those submissions. They spend weeks reading through all of the submissions themselves, and they were busy this year. We had over 430 different submissions to go through. And so if you made it into the submission, or if you made it into this issue, it says something. And we had a tough time. We had so many amazing conversations about what art was, what really made a story sing. It was really incredible to be a part of. So once those submissions were decided, they worked with the individual contributors themselves to edit and to polish the pieces, and then arrange the whole layout for both the print and the digital exclusives. And then they were super busy advertising and promoting not only the submissions, but the event itself. And they also were hustling just to promote and get this magazine out into the world. I am proud to say that our industry outreach coordinators got a lot of press for this year's edition. And also, I'm proud to share that for the first time, SandScript is going to be available for purchase at local bookstores and museums here in Tucson. Yeah, I know, right? So this is all to say that there are 100 invisible tasks that go into making this magazine, and it's really been a privilege to see how much the staff has done to highlight and showcase the amazing creativity that is part of the Pima student body. And so, you know, SandScript is a labor of love on a lot of fronts, so I do want to say a couple of thank yous. I want to thank our campus vice president, Aubrey Conover, our communications dean, Ken Chavez, and our English and journalism department head, Maggie Golston, because they have put so much effort into SandScript. You can clap now. Yes. I also want to thank the Pima Foundation, which maintains the SandScript Fund that allows us to run our genre contests and to support our contest winners. All of the donations that you made to get the print edition are going straight into that SandScript Fund so that we can continue to have genre contests to award all the hard work and effort that goes into making these contributions, or making these submissions. And it means that we'll continue to be able to create this prize-winning magazine. We've been winning prizes since 2015, nationwide contests. It's fantastic. I know, right? I also want to take a moment to thank our genre contest judges, Melissa Goodrich, Naomi Ortiz, and Ernesto Trujillo, who are all prominent writers here in Tucson. Thank you so much for supporting the burgeoning talents here at Pima. And finally, I want to thank all of you for coming here tonight. Whether you are a contributor, past or present to SandScript, or you're one of their family or their friends, or you're just a fan. So much art arises from the community around the artist. So thank you for coming to support this creativity that's so special here at Pima. And with that, I would love to introduce you to our editor-in-chief, Raiden Lopez, who's going to share her thoughts and insights and introduce the staff. So thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you so much, Mariah. Hi, everyone. I'm Raiden Lopez. I'm the editor-in-chief of SandScript, and I have had the privilege of being the editor-in-chief for the past 3 years. Amazing, right? You would think that I wouldn't be as nervous doing this right now, but I am. So without further ado, let's talk about it. All right. So, 2023. What words could I use to describe this year? Are there any that could summarize all that has transpired? Probably not. So let me start with something that can. Emotions. Every single moment of every day, people, everywhere, everyone feels them, right? Whether it is negative, positive, or passive. First emotion that comes to mind, as with the prior 2 years, is still loss. We all have lost something or someone in this time, and with loss comes pain and grief that is never really overcome. Instead, it becomes a daily companion that gets easier to live with day by day. Second emotion is acceptance. Life puts us in untenable positions, but we are resilient and stubborn creatures. We find a way. Acceptance was a major theme we saw in this year's submissions. Acceptance of life situations that arose, but also acceptance of who we are fundamentally and personally. Finally, bringing us to that third emotion, which we always need more of, happiness. Finding the happiness in the little things, like Christmas lights, or teaching your sibling a new pastime. The editorial team this year went on quite the emotional roller coaster as we went through each of the submissions. We felt that elation when someone accepted who they were despite intolerant people. We felt the feeling of entrapment and fear that a toxic relationship brings, and we felt hope for the writer who endured such things to be safe. We felt proud when someone succeeded in their goals and moved on to follow their dreams. We celebrated with those who shared their love for history and culture. As editors, we intake all of those intense passion, fear, love, insecurity, and confidence that comes with each individual piece that these artists and writers are trying to convey. Within the past 3 years of being editor-in-chief, I have seen the growth of so many incredible students. I got the chance to meet artists from around the world and hear about their muse for their art. I got the chance to hear from the writers who made me feel such a myriad of emotions, share their life experiences that inspired those stories that we're reading. It has been such an honor to be a part of the history that is SandScript. I have had the opportunity to lead a new staff team 3 times through this journey. We created a college magazine. It's amazing. Each year with its own challenges, of course, as to be expected with the world evolving and moving into the digital realm. This year was no different, as we were fighting against time to try and get through all the submissions within our deadline. Last year, myself and my mentor, Frankie Rollins, the previous faculty advisor, practically willed SandScript into surviving the pandemic. It was hard, but this year, it was my goal to get past the majority of the pandemic to where there is some form of normalcy to the world, and to help SandScript grow and thrive in this ever-changing world. I'm proud to say that I've done that with this incredible team by my side. Our previous advisor left Pima to follow her dreams, but she handed SandScript to another creative and passionate soul, Mariah Young. It was our love for SandScript and that goal to make it more known that made it what it is today. I stepped down as editor-in-chief after 3 years, but I take so much experience and love with me. I think of SandScript as a parent who would see their child. A lot of me has gone into raising it, but I was only meant to be a part of its life for a while, and now I get to step back and enjoy watching how it grows. SandScript is a wonderful, unbiased platform for all Pima students to share their creativity and art. It is a very brave thing to share that part of you with the world, but it's worth it, and the world needs to see it. So I encourage you all to continue to make your art, to live your life passionately, and to remember that life isn't easy, but it can be beautiful if you let it. Thank you so much for the privilege of being your editor-in-chief. And now I would like to go ahead and introduce my team. Thank you. I'd first like to go ahead and introduce my assistant manager, Mackenzie Doherty, my girl Friday, who I couldn't have done any of this without. My managing editor, Katie Murray, who has been amazing and instrumental in all of the documents that we process in the background. Next, I'm going to introduce my co-industry outreach and marketing managers. We have David Muchler, and we have Alicia Ruffin. Then we have my visual arts editor, Damien Sakala. Our poetry editor, Kristen LeBlanc. My prose editor, Eric Serta. And lastly, but absolutely not least, because we couldn't have done any of this without our amazing graphic design editor, Brandon Robles. And then, of course, I was introduced by her, but this is our faculty advisor, Mariah Young. She didn't get an introduction. And this is the team that brought you 2023 SandScript edition. Thank you all so much. It was a pleasure to introduce you. I would like to go ahead and keep my co-industry outreach coordinators with me to talk to you about our marketing and our social media.
Welcome. Hi. As you see above the screen, you'll see a QR code, and you'll scan that, and it'll give you our link tree. And in that link tree, you'll find very fun things in there.
Also, alternatively, you can go to link.tree/SandScript. And we also have lots of social media as well that you can see on there, links to our website, as well as the digital versions, which, as was noted, will be available tomorrow. We also have links to our Instagram and our Discord servers, which has lots of information about how you can get involved or contribute or donate to SandScript, as well as work towards future issues.
And we hope that you join the Discord, because that will allow you to know all the updates for future SandScript submissions and for our fall entries for our class next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well. And we'd also like to let you know that we will be keeping the channels of communication open over the summer and the fall, going into spring. And so you can follow us on Instagram and all of our social media for more student art. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and we're gonna welcome back onto stage. Great.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That was amazing. All right, and without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring back out my assistant, Mackenzie, and we're going to get started with our contributors. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. The first person to come up is someone that we instantly fell in love with. In this year's edition of SandScript, we wanted to capture the human experience. Fission made us all feel something just a little bit different. It made us wonder, and it made us think. This artist captured the human experience for each one of us, and that is why we knew it would be the perfect cover. Everyone, please welcome Aiden Badrudoha.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm so excited to be here. This is my painting titled Fission. I have a hard time talking about my art because if I had a reason to, or if I could say it, I wouldn't paint it. But with this one, my focus was really to play with the ideas of material and space, background and foreground, so the figure is kind of dissolving into the space around him and kind of shedding his material form. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Our visual arts judge, Ernesto Trujillo, says, "This artwork exemplifies the exquisite automatic drawing, layering, and color blending techniques with a classical feel in contemporary composition. In the classical narrative, Hermes delivers messages to the various gods in Greek mythology. In some stories, Hermes returns souls to the underworld of Hades and protects those traveling. This artwork figures and body parts are integral to the piece and denote several layers of natural ascension and cycles of existence. The soft, cool, and warm tones make the lines and shape unique to their placement and visual dimension. The subtle blending allows the viewer to float around the canvas and appreciate the nuances of the composition. This artwork demonstrates the highest quality in rendering and storytelling. Welcome, Ev Esif."
Hello, my name is Ev Esif. First, I'd like to thank SandScript for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. So for Hermes, my process was starting with a sketch. I extracted the lines out of the sketch and placed it into Photoshop. I used some gold overlays to create kind of a gold and green effect, a little bit of inversion on the cactus and the column structure to create a patina effect. The emerald and the gold represent perpetuity, the ever-present here and now. Hermes is one of 3 pieces in the mystic triptych, representing one part of Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus is a combination of the Egyptian god Thoth and the Greek god Hermes, creating a figure who is the creator of Hermeticism. He provided an alchemical pathway to produce the Philosopher's Stone, which is etched on the surface of the emerald tablet. This piece represents the eternal present moment. The scene is a physical representation of Yesod, the channeling, the bridge depicting Hermes, the messenger, who is presenting the emerald tablet to Al-Khizr, the green man, who serves as a guide to Moses in the Quran. The green man is a motif that identifies itself in many cultures and many civilizations for thousands of years. Al-Khizr and the green man serve as an indication of nature's perfection over all circumstances, no matter how they appear in physicality. The intention of my art is to channel my living lowercase self with the uppercase eternal self, weaving metaphor through a salient visual realm and providing the space for ancestral resonance to speak. Thank you.
Our prose winner for this year's edition was unable to be here tonight, but I would like to say why the judge chose this person. Melissa Goodrich says, Bird Whistle showcases a mastery of contrasts, the mute desert heat against the voice-driven dialogue, the brutality of belt marks on the neck against a boy's hands cupping a dead bird like something sacred. This story has the resonance of the desert quiet, wide open, lonesome, solemn, stark. The language is precise and needle-sharp, and when a merlin is shot from the sky, it shoots the reader straight through too. This story leaves stones in you. You leave heavier than you came. River Leth was the one who wrote this story. Now, the poetry winner is someone that we all know dear, and Naomi Ortiz, our judge, says there is an amazing tension in this piece, pushing the reader into the room as they journey alongside the poet, or subject of the poem, as they go through the steps towards a tubal ligation procedure. By crafting an entire narrative through what is being said to the subject versus an internal perspective of a person advocating for themselves, I found myself with them, wanting to respond and push back. This poem is both provocative and compelling. Welcome our first place poetry winner, Kristen LeBlanc.
Hello, thank you, Mackenzie. First, I wanted to start by thanking my husband, Austin Stewart. Without his unwavering support, I would never have returned to college at all, and I never would have been here. And I'd also like to thank some of my professors, Eric Aldrich, Maggie Golston, Jennifer Wiley, and of course, Mariah Young. Your encouragement and teachings have been essential to my growth as a writer and helped me realize that I do have stories and they are worth telling. Most of my works are a bit on the darker side, or a little bit low in emotion. So I wanted to instead read from a piece that, while not a winner, I do love and is a bit brighter. I wanted to read the first stanza of my poem, Themes in Loving You. I wanted to write a poem comparing you to the stars, or flowers, or rain, but the words don't quite fit. And flowers and rain and stars are pretty, perfect, and overdone, but you are messy and imperfect in all the ways that make you more wonderful than I could put into words. Yet here I am, doing the impossible. I suppose that makes us both anomalies, 2 ships passing in the night because we both hate the morning. Perhaps I will try to write about us anyways. Thank you. I'll be starting off with our contributors with our first group. This will actually be our second place poetry winner. Our second place poem is Pride Found, and the author has 5 other works published this year. She's a public educator who blends her unique views and perspectives into her poetry, and she tackles all manner of subjects, including the queer experience, religious trauma, and all of the little unintentional things that we inherit. Please welcome Ash Hook to the stage.
Wow, thank you, Kristen. As she said, I'm a public educator, and so a lot of my work has to do with education. My poem, Death of the American Education, is in there, but I want to talk about the Pride Found poem that I took second for. This poem is what it says in the title. It's finding my pride and my queerness, and which I came to fairly late because of some oppressive religious and cultural struggles, and this is really a celebration of finding that part of my identity and embracing it. Am I one of the letters because of my lovers, who are something of the same and somewhat of the different? A by-sides bleeding of colors from the all-proud spectrum, lilac to indigo, purple muddled love. Because I like her red hair and his red beard, am I queerer than any other? I musingly wonder, who doesn't like soft and scratchy ginger joy? He's such a boy, and they are them, and she spins me round and round, and inside I have found love to match my outside fire, desire drawing all the magnificent mottled moths to a fierce heart flame that doesn't really need a label or a name. Just a letter or two that says, I want to be with you and with you too. Understanding identity is a lifelong process. I encourage everyone to keep being true to themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Ash. Our next contributor wrote the poem, Domestic Wars. It is a strong poem that tugs at your heart and tackles social issues in our modern world. This author was published in the Library of Poetry's Resilience 2022 collection and is working on a book of short stories. Please welcome Acacia Chambers.
Hi, everybody. My name is Acacia Chambers, and I'm finishing my freshman year at Pima. I wrote the poem Domestic Wars, which kind of brings to light the issue that the youth in America experience in not only gang violence, but also just neighborhood violence in general. I wanted to say that I'm honored to be here and to be able to speak and to be published in the SandScript of this year. When I was first accepted into this collection of works, I was 17. So I was just honored to be accepted for my work and not my age or my seniority or my experience. And I wanted to take this time to read my poem and then also share something that's been weighing on my heart. Domestic wars kill more than people think. Boys dropping before their voices get the chance. Girls getting taught the wrong things. That is not how you should be treated. That is not real love. Something as simple as a breath of fresh air in the wrong area becomes much bigger than a stroll around the block. They are trafficking before they know how to drive. These things happen more often than people think. Thousands every year die as soldiers in a war where their battlefield is their own front yard. Over 1 million children every year experience or participate in gang violence, with the most common age being 14. Individually, we can't do much about this issue, but I think together if we share the word and find resources that help underprivileged neighborhoods, we can do wonders, and those wonders can be beautiful. Thank you again for having me, and I'm so honored to be published.
Thank you, Acacia. Our next poet is Allegra Aguirre. She's having her works for Real Beast and The American Nightmare published, and she doesn't shy away from taking a stand in what she believes in, especially in her writing. Please welcome Allegra to the stage.
Writing has always been something that enthralled me. The endless amount of forms it provides for an endless amount of experiences, the actual power words have to submerge people into a specific feeling, time, or place. Poetry first spoke to me in the 6th grade, and ever since then, we've been inseparable. My poem, The American Nightmare, addresses a few issues that we face here in America. This was a piece that I had previously completed, but always saw more potential in. Coming full circle and creating an almost entire new piece with the bones of my previous one has been satisfying, and I'd like to read an excerpt from it. Somewhere in America, a child's stomach growls, slowly digesting itself as if it will feed them. At the same time, someone is complaining about their food not being scalding hot. I'm so sorry, I can't eat this. I'm on a keto diet for summer, and this won't work for me. There are people scavenging through garbage, their hands stained with the remnants of poverty. Somewhere in America, a college graduate stands on the side of the road, using their freshly framed diploma as shelter from rain, and their graduation cap as a cup for spare change. You did amazing in your interview, but we need someone with more work experience. The thought of debt waits patiently in the back of their mind, feeding off words like overqualified, budget cuts, and inflation to eventually swallow them whole. And that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Allegra. Our next artist completed a work, Two Lazy Susans. It's a visual piece that we found astoundingly creative, and the hard work definitely paid off. Wood can be an unforgiving medium, but this artist blends shape and form together in a beautifully practical piece. Please welcome Arthur Lurvey.
Hello. I retired from Raytheon about 12 years ago, and at that time I was looking around for something to do. And I had been working with wood since I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, but never accomplishing very much of a grand piece of furniture or anything like that, something that really tackled my capabilities. I found the woodworking and carpentry program here at Pima College, and they are currently located over by the airport, and they have machinery and stuff there that I could only dream of possibly having. Two of the most important resources, however, are our instructors, Chuck Gallagher and Lily Brenai, I'm sorry. So these are the two pieces. I got the ideas roughly from an internet video off of YouTube, but with the help of the instructors, I was able to actually put it into practice and do it. If this is a program that you're interested in trying to tackle, you can start all the way from the beginning to the end. We have students there doing all sorts of things. We have two guys making chairs right now that are just gorgeous. One of them has made about 4 chairs for toddlers. And I asked him, oh, another grandchild? He says, yes. I either got to learn to say no or hand out birth control pills. So stop by and talk to me if you're interested in such a program. It's a great little program that we have here at Pima College. And have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, Arthur. Our next entrant has Apollo Sleeps, Entropy, and To Hear, all by Brett Wynn, that are poems that we instantly fell in love with. Each one captures the essence of a particular emotion or a moment in time, and we're very glad we had the chance to read and publish them. Please welcome Brett Wynn.
Hi, I'm Brett Wynn. I'm finishing my freshman year here at Pima. I wanted to give a special thanks to my professor, Jeremy Clark. He's really let me express myself, especially through my writing. I feel like I've found a new love for it. Apollo Sleeps is very sentimental to me. I wrote it at a very vulnerable time of mine. The household I grew up in didn't let me express myself through emotions, so I lack in expressing myself through words. So I just shut down. And this poetry has allowed me to open myself back up again, and I feel like I'm starting to heal those frayed wires that were cut by my family members. So I would just like to read Apollo Sleeps. Apollo sleeps as Artemis wakes. Colors clash in the sky as if to fight for territory amongst the stars. Less to be seen, more to be heard. The sky shifts, those same colors fade as beacons appear. Streetlights illuminate my path. My breath chills, the hair on my arm stands up. She wraps her arms around me, cold to the bone. She seeks warmth from my flesh. I wrap my arms around her, desperate to fulfill her needs. We sit as the earth rests. That just represents a lost love of mine and my, feeling of despair afterwards, but I think it also represents a sense of hope. So yeah, thank you.
Our phenomenal visual arts editor has 4 photos and 1 poem being published, Man in the Spotlight being one of our favorites. It brings a story that leaves us wanting more and more and more. Welcome, Damian Sakala.
Hello, thank you all for coming. First thing I want to talk about is my poetry teacher from last semester, Charles Alexander. Taking his class really got me to write more and work on my craft. And as such, I wrote a poem that he thought would be good enough for this magazine. It was the first time I ever heard about it, and he encouraged me to submit and possibly join. I did both, and as such, I was in the room when my poem got accepted. I got to see the process of pairing it. It just so happens it got paired with one of these other photos I took too. And it's been great to work with everybody here. And I'm really grateful to be a part of SandScript, both as an editor and as an author. And I thank you all again for coming out. That's all.
The author of The Golden Gaze and Absolute Magic is someone who enjoys experimenting with content and exploring new ways to tell his unique stories. Please welcome Christian Anderson.
Hi. So that's actually my entire introduction for this magazine, because I don't usually talk about my work because I let my work speak for itself, or at least I try to. I just wanted to say thank you really very much for publishing me for a second year. I was also in last year's but wasn't able to attend this, so I wanted to make sure that I was this year. Basically, the long and short of it, I have notes, is that The Golden Gaze was just an attempt for me to talk about my childhood experiences with bullying and what that was like, and kind of process the emotions of, in a metaphorical sense, how I got over that fear and learned to live in confidence with myself. And then the other story, which is Absolute Magic, which has absolutely nothing to do with magic. Sorry for that title. It was a process of the death of the movie theater industry after the pandemic. I grew up really in love with the magic of storytelling through the movies, and there was just something to the communal experience of coming to a theater like here and all sitting together and getting excited and sad and moved by the same thing. And then after the pandemic, I went to the theater to see a brand new movie, and it was completely empty, and I don't know why, it just made me depressed. And then my friends were there the week that the Tucson Cheap Seats closed. They're here right now. We went to go see West Side Story, which is an awesome movie, by the way. And then it closed. And so this is just, like I said, I'm not very good at talking about my work. I let my work speak for itself. But yeah, it's about processing that idea of losing that communal storytelling, what it's like to experience that with a group of people, which thankfully you're all doing here now. And without further ado, that's it.
A Crescent Moon is our second place prose winner this year. It takes you on an adrenaline rush of action and adventure. We cheered on our brave hero the whole way through, proving once again that good can always triumph over evil. Please welcome Connor Lechner.
Hello. Thanks for reading the stuff, I guess. This is the first time I've ever submitted to SandScript or anything like that. I haven't been in a writing class for anything in a couple semesters now. I've been taking a break from it. I'm actually back at Pima pursuing an EMT certification right now. And then I saw the SandScript thing that it was extended, and I remembered back to my creative writing teacher I took for a few semesters, Ken Vorndren, told me that if I was going to submit anything, it'd be this one. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it. And I'm really happy with how it was received and everything like that. The process, this one, it's kind of like a prologue piece, I guess. I worked on it for a few months off and on, and then kind of just didn't touch it for a long time, and then decided that, you know what, I'll do that. And so yeah, I'm really glad it got accepted. So thank you.
This next author is another one that we all know very well, and they are inspired by the modernists and existentialists. He is trying to write a book of poetry and short stories that captures his philosophy of life. Please welcome our very own prose editor, Eric Serta.
Hello, my name is Eric, and I'm going to read just the first paragraph of my short story that's in the book. Your eyes open, your mind is hazy as your reality sets in. You sigh. The dream you just had now seems too abstract to recall. But you remember being happy. You want to close your eyes, perchance to dream it once more, to feel that feeling. But you know you'll never feel it again. You're turning 30 soon.
This next person is a visual artist, filmmaker, and ceramicist who aims to bring attention to what is overlooked every day. In Dreams, captured our hearts wholly. Welcome, Aaron Kubat.
Hello. First, I would like to thank SandScript for giving all of the artists here at Pima an opportunity to see their work in a physical format in a digital age where everything just gets washed away in a second. So my inspiration for this piece was John Cocteau and his film Orpheus. He's a filmmaker who uses a lot of mirrors, and what really inspired me was the notion that somebody, 70 years ago with a fraction of the materials we have today could make something, just so mind-blowing. And what I really wanted to express is that art is for everybody. I feel like, myself included, a lot of artists get caught up in, the details and in the equipment that goes along with art making. But you really can make anything out of nothing, So thank you.
And to take a tiny break, we're going to have the faculty advisor, Mariah Young, announce our very first raffle winner. Okay, never mind. I think that was a change of plans. I'm going to have Kristen announce the next group of people.
Hello again. This author almost didn't submit, but we're really glad that she changed her mind and submitted on the very last day of the submission period. She plans on transferring to the University of Arizona this year to pursue a bachelor's in linguistics, where she'll hopefully continue to write. Please welcome Elizabeth Grace Lowe.
Hello. So, one day a fish saw a plane. This fish's name was Bubbles. This is, of course, not the story that I chose to submit. This is actually a quote from one of the first stories that I ever wrote when I was about 7 years old. Toni Morrison once said, "Write the book that you want to read." This first story that I ever wrote came from that need. My brother had this love of airplanes, and when he was about 2 years old, he got a fish, which he named Bubbles. And of course, there's many books everywhere. There's children's books about airplanes and fish, but there was never a story about both. So I wrote that story for him, and from there, my writing took off. I had always written books for my siblings. They were short pieces like that. I never once thought I would be published, let alone twice. I am honored that SandScript considers my story worthy of their distinguished magazine, and that I get to be published beside so many of these other talented writers. I would not be here if I hadn't had help along the way. First of all, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me this ability to write and this passion to pursue it. I want to thank my family for being so supportive as I wrote, and especially at the beginning when I first started to write, how they encouraged me to continue, even though looking back I can see how not publishable they were because of many grammatical and spelling errors and stuff like that. I also want to thank my creative writing professor, Rachel Cupp, for helping me to push the boundaries of my writing and to just bring it to greater levels. I would literally not be standing here without her. She was the one who convinced me time and time again that you should publish, you should publish, you should submit to SandScript, and every time I said, no, I'm not going to. And then I eventually did, and I'm so glad that I did. I would not be here without her. The story that I chose to submit to SandScript this year is called From the Ashes of Glory. This story came from an interesting place. It was actually a writing exercise in my class. We had to write a story from the perspective of a villain or an unliked character. So I picked the antagonist from a novel that I had been working on for a while, and I finished the assignment, continued my class. But after a few weeks, I went back and reread it, and I realized that the experiences my character went through are very similar to many of the experiences that we all go through in everyday life. Of course, the situations are not the same, of course, but we have all experienced things like broken trust and a feeling of loneliness or being lost. When I realized that, I went back and rewrote this story. I changed the point of view from third person, meaning that it is written from he, she, it point of view, to second person, so it is written as you. And then it became a lot easier to relate to, and it really started to come together. Writing this story has really made me think about how fictional characters are not the only ones with a story. Everybody here has a story, and through writing and art, we can discover that story. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Our next author, unfortunately, wasn't able to be here today. It was Fer Cueva, who wrote our third place poetry winner, El Sazón de mi Tierra. She has 3 of her poems being published this year, Life in all of its forms is her inspirations, and you can always feel the love of life in each of her poems. Fortunately for Cueva can't be here today, but I definitely recommend you all read her poetry and the publication. Our next author plans on transferring to the University of Arizona to receive a bachelor's in creative writing, and his works are inspired by family, culture, memory, and dreams. Please welcome Gabriel Baez.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the SandScript staff. It is a privilege to be published in this magazine. I also want to give thanks to mi familia, my mom, my dad, my grandpa especially. He was a writer too. And especially my girlfriend, Amy, querida, your belief in me uplifts me every day. Yeah, so the inspiration for my pieces, I had 3 included, a sestina, like nonce form that I'm working on, and a conversation piece that works on the poetics of talking with one another. I'd like to read from Tierra para el Indio Suriano, which is about migrant communities in the Central Valley of California. I'm from here and there, within and without, north and south, from No Sabo and English only, from El Paso, Queens Creek, Yuma, Corcoran, Salinas, up and down again. I am from Cruz, Mata, Gonzales, Baez, Lerma, and other forgotten names. I am from tortillas for breakfast and weekends of church, the ramate and menudo, and putting on music para cocinar. The kitchen smelling of arroz and frijoles while mi mamá warms tortillas on her grandmother's comal. I'm from Michoacán and California, SZLN and UFW, Mestizo, Chicano. I'm from Tierra, and those lines of cars, off-color clashing with the neat green rows of crops, from grapes and strawberries, tomatoes and lettuce, cotton and corn, from Welch's, Monsanto, Boswell, the wooden roadside stands. I'm from toil and soil, from pleated plant rows, sown and sowed. I'm from in between both and neither. I'm from fertile lands, yet come to work yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel. This next author is currently studying neuroscience and cognitive sciences, and she finds inspiration in feelings and words that move her, which is exemplified in her poem, To the One I Cannot Forget. Please welcome Gabriela Fragoso.
Hi, my name is Gabriela Fragoso. I want to begin by thanking SandScript for this opportunity. I write poetry to capture my mind's biography. The purpose is for my words to become a memory, and here is my poem, To the One I Cannot Forget. The words you say, a simple melody, evermore to reminisce. You daunt me so heavily. Admitted, I'm conflicted on how to coexist. Animosity, I'm hostile in the midst. Waiting for an epiphany, been trapped in my head for a while, captivity without a fair trial. The words ever since persist. Convicted to the thought of you like it's a felony, long live your legacy. I miss your presence, no remedy, just an abstract memory. They say ignorance is bliss, furthermore, I reminisce. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriela. So now we will have Mariah Young come on, and she will do the first raffle of the night for the scholarship.
Hi.
So I've got our first raffle for contributors only. We'll have another one, which is for everyone who is here. You have the eligibility to get a $250 scholarship. And so, let's see. It's all very transparent. Let's see. Juan Pena. Juan Pena is our winner. Yay! We will make sure that he gets this information, and yes, I'm looking forward to the next raffle. Toodles.
And I will give the mic back to Mackenzie Doherty to announce the last of our speakers.
This next photographer has developed a fascination for taking pictures of people that tell an emotional story. Christmas Light Joy does exactly that, and that's why we love it. Welcome, Ian Sommer.
Before I get started, I would like to say thank you to my mother who fought tooth and nail to get me to where I am today. And thank you to every mother, because it's right after Mother's Day. Now, I want to start by asking you all a question that you don't have to say out loud, but what is your favorite month? I mean, there's 12 of them, and you've lived through all of them, at least a couple times, I assume. Well, mine is December. Well, why? It's because it's the happiest time of the month, at least for me. You have Christmas, Hanukkah, and probably several other events that I'm forgetting about right now because I'm nervous. But I wanted to focus on Christmas for this photo. You see, when you are growing up as a kid, the best time of the year is Christmas, all right? It's the most innocent time. Even from me coming from rough upbringings, I was so excited for Christmas. I remember we would kill an afternoon with me and my mom just going through neighborhoods, just looking at all the Christmas lights set up. And if I ask her today, I'm sure she would say she would never see me not smiling, which is what I wanted to capture with this picture. A friend of mine, who I graciously picked up just last second, shout out to Isabel, she also understood this feeling for Christmas. And as we were going through the botanical gardens, which was where this was shot during their special Christmas event, not only was she acting like a kid, but I was acting like a kid. I was very childish this whole photography shoot. Not too professional, but it was fun. And that's overall the meaning, you know? Throughout this time, there's a lot of hardships we deal with. You know, a lot of people don't know if there is going to be a next year, you know? So we want to enjoy the moments that we have right now with the people we love. And that's what I hope to capture with this picture. Thank you.
Warmth and tuning in did just what the photographer yearns to do. She is passionate about making people feel less alone by using her writing and photography to share otherwise isolating experiences. Welcome, Isabel Gard.
Thank you. I'm probably not going to talk very loud because I'm very nervous. Sorry in advance. But I've done writing for as long as I can think. I didn't start photography until I was in high school, and I think that was honestly the best decision that I've ever made. I expected it to be just kind of like a filler class. I took your book, and I took my first photography class, and I turned out to fall in love with it. I met some awesome people, some awesome role models and mentors, and people who've changed who I am. Like, I couldn't have imagined myself talking in front of this many people even just a year ago, but here I am now. I'm going out and I've changed in a lot of ways. I had a few different photos that I submitted. This one specifically comes from a day when I went out with my little sister. She's about 5 years old now, pretty little. We went to the plant nursery and she was walking around having a good time, and I kind of sat there in that moment and I was like, I really want something to remember how I feel right now. Because there are many moments in life where you feel that kind of like serenity, that kind of peace that you have when you're with someone you love. And in that moment I looked around and I was like, I feel really warm right now, for lack of better words. I took a picture of the grass, and I feel like this photo perfectly captures how I felt in that moment, being with somebody who means that much to me, my family. And it just means a lot to me to see how I've grown and how I've changed as a person, as a photographer, and as an older sister. Thank you.
Our next contributors are a mother-daughter duo. Mariah has won several literary awards, and Sage is studying graphic design and hopes to one day be an art director. They each have a unique style, evidenced by the bright fun of retro wave from Sage and the thoughtfulness of the human experience in If Julian Wakes and the aid of music in foreign language classrooms from Mariah. Please welcome Mariah Nissen and Sage Furrer.
So I want to thank SandScript for choosing both of our works, and Raiden, because she encouraged me to submit my stuff, so that was pretty cool. The piece that got picked, The Aid of Music in the Foreign Language Classroom, is something I wrote several years ago when I was in graduate school, when I was studying French. And one thing I always loved about this piece is how music is a very important part in learning language, and it really helps the learner for it to stick in their mind. So I encourage you, if you are a teacher of any sort and you do foreign language, right now I'm doing Spanish and German here at Pima, and it is a wonderful tool to have in your toolbox. And if you're encouraged by this and interested in this, I encourage you to read the piece and use it in your classroom, because it is an incredibly helpful tool to have. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Sage Furrer, and this is my second year at Pima. And the piece I did was a playlist cover for my Photoshop class last semester. And I remember when I was making this, I actually started making this in the library at this campus. I remember really struggling to find what my vision was for the piece, and then I just really wanted to do something with cassette tapes and retro music, because I'm really inspired by the vaporwave art form, and it inspires me in my work all the time. And yeah, I'd like to thank SandScript for accepting my piece, and Raiden for encouraging me to submit, and my mom for supporting my education this long. Thank you.
And I must say, I'm truly blessed to be able to share this with her. This is such a great thing to be able to do with your daughter or your son or whoever. So, I encourage you as parents, if this is something you want to do with your own kid and you're going to school here, go ahead, try it. Thank you.
Our last author of the evening plans on studying abroad to become an architect after she receives her degree in computer-aided design here at Pima. She has a natural affinity toward death and its meaning, viewing it as a reciprocal process. Found in Death is a work that proves this passion. Welcome, Sedona Blanar.
Hello, I'm just going to read my poem. Found in Death. Looking out over lime green terraced rice fields, we continue on foot up a steep, rocky course, a breezy spot overlooking a valley. I approach this moment with trepidation, the man who knows all the answers. You are lucky you found me. There is no one else who knows. The smell is musty, like a bunch of blankets put away, wet and stored for several years, relaxed and fit. His companions in the crypt. Halloween skeletons too will prosper. They are not just individuals. Here God created man in heaven and woman from earth. On a personal level, I take some comfort in the tradition. Proud and excited, believe the important thing is definitely odd, but not unpleasant or gruesome. Thank you.
Thank you to all the contributors that came out, and thank you all for coming. I'm going to hand the reins to our amazing editor-in-chief, Raiden Lopez, to finalize the evening.
All right, so we have the second raffle. Let's go ahead and do it.
Do you want to pick it?
I'd love to.
Think so?
Okay, we have ticket number 814-2424. Who's that number?
Everyone is frantically looking for their other ticket. Check your tickets, and you can come and find me afterwards, and I can get you all the information to claim your scholarship.
Yeah. Yes. 2023 unveiling event, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight and supporting our PCC students, and of course, supporting SandScript. It was incredible to be here and introduce this year's contributors with you all. If you are a student and interested in joining SandScript next year, please go ahead and join class Writing 162 in the spring of 2024. Oh my gosh, another year, right? But also, we have another fun surprise for you. Last year, we had a historic double issue of the print and digital edition. This year, we have an open mic night, and it is going to be across the courtyard in the recital hall, and if you would like to, please go ahead and sign up at the entrance. But please enjoy refreshments and music across the courtyard, and thank you for joining us, everyone, and thank you again so much for 3 years. 3 wonderful years of being your editor-in-chief. It was my pleasure, and have a great night.